because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, don't expect numbers like 12 and 14 of when women got married in the 1700s. Think of today's standards. And I bring that up because her husband was over double her age when they married. So kind of a creepy age gap back in the 1700s, and definitely a creepy age gap now. But she married him because her father was over in England, where her family's from. And her dad thought he was dying, so he's trying to bring all of his children home one last time. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so she stayed put, got married. It's 1744. You don't get married in that specific year to get a green card. We're not a country yet. So she did marry him out of love, and there was no foul play, so please don't poke the bear. But she was also right. Dad didn't die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England to the space that we're standing. One of those gifts happens to be the plant seeds of indigo. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes your blue jeans blue. That's how we use it today. But Eliza didn't always know what to do with the seeds when she got them. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not warm here all the time like most people think. And when she figured out how to grow this little crop and make the dye, she moved it to another plantation down by Stono River, got a hold of her dad and said, the rice plantation prices are going downhill. They're going to make a killing with this indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. That's something absolutely unheard of. So that's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit because that's why you guys are all here. So what I'm going to do is with each device as a communication device, I'm going to be giving you a series of questions to focus on a specific part of Eliza Pinckney. So if you're not getting an answer, I want you to keep in mind we do have 2 other video cameras plus my voice recorder running at the same time. The answers can go anywhere, so don't get frustrated if you're not getting answers to your direct questions. So with your guys' spirit box, you guys are going to go straight after Eliza's death. She's pretty open about it. You can get her age at time of death, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, 4 specific questions about her death. With yours, Jen, Eliza, ironically, was the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. And ironically, again, both Elizas had a maiden name that started with the letter L. You're going to be looking for Eliza's initials, E-L-P. So, where's the word generator? Who's got that? Oh, you guys have that. So, you're going to hopefully find out what the maiden name was, so that way we know which Eliza we're actually dealing with.
I got a Bryson.
It starts with the letter L.
I'll just let you know it's a Bryson.
Yeah, Bryson's doesn't start with L.
Okay.
Cassie, so your questions, I want you to tread lightly, please. The children, you can ask how many and what their names were. That's it. The reason why, there's a tragedy among those children, and if you poke the bear, we're all going to know because all activity is going to stop. Have you had any readings come up yet?
No.
Nothing at all. I think that about covers all of these spirit boxes and communication devices. So with the cameras, again, I'm going to be keeping Jen behind so I can show her a few things about that device. But again, we're fortunate enough where there's nobody parked in here tonight. So just be mindful, people do cut through the slots when we're filming of them, and make sure that the cameras are in the, yours being Chris, definitely hold it.
Mine's like, the thing is up here, but like, it's, I don't know.
Push.
Okay.
Just had to stop it and restart it. You're good. So you guys are going to have like 3 minutes of sideways video. You guys all cool with that? Neat. So, whatever. All right, so let's spread out. Jen, you're going to stick with me. And then I'm going to hopefully convince Steve to be able to take something extra so we have some more data. So definitely get that record button hit, Thomas, if you're not recording yet. All right, so your device works off of EMF.
Here, get in front of Do what? Just stay in front of mine. That way. Okay. I might have something.
There's some people over here. But you did get one over on this side.
I know, I saw something like up there.
Uh-huh. And I would keep moving around like back and forth until you kind of hone in on something.
Oh. Mom, I keep seeing stuff right there. Look. Hang on, it was like half a body. There was no legs. It was like in the window. I swear I saw it.
Was it like in the lines?
Yeah, it was in the purple lines.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm trying to find it again. Right there, you see it?
Yeah.
You see it flicker? But it was longer than that though. It stayed, it like flashed on and off, but it was there. That, look at that.
Yeah.
It's on the car. It's like, looks like it's
There's
like
another one next
punching.
to it, too.
It looks like it's like punching the car. Look.
Thermal's over it too.
Whoa.
Of course, we're pointing them directly at cars. So you are picking up the sign.
Oh.
See, that's why you guys keep me around.
Oh, I saw it moving.
So are like just the white, like if I point it this way, just the little white things are just like lights?
No, that's heat. The wall, because the difference here in the ground, is going to hang on to the warmth of the base sun more so than the mud in the earth. Because this is mud, gravel, and dirt, which is going to be much cooler than cement. So it's going to hang on to the heat.
So how do I know if it's?
Get closer to it. It looks like it might be that sign over there.
So how do I know what makes it like a ghost from?
So what I do with this is when you find something on here, I definitely take a screenshot and then I brighten it up so I can see what's behind it in case we couldn't catch it in real time like what we just did with the sign, and I make sure there's nothing behind it. So if there's another figure there and it's making a pose like I would normally see a human do, then that's what I'm really looking for. Some people say, oh, there's a person sitting on the wall. I'm like, well, you got the tree branches there and so forth and so on. Again, expect me to debunk a lot of things. But when we have somebody walking by, sometimes it's gonna look like somebody's like attached to me, but not like, how do I put this? So I'm gonna be walking like this and somebody looks like their arms are going the opposite way and they have a much shorter step. So their motions are a lot different than mine. So now we know it's not a mirror of me, if that makes sense. It's not my shadow or anything like that. Like there's something going on if we see two on top of each other, but they are moving in two totally different ways. So I do pay attention to a lot of the motion from that. And again, this is one of the cameras I'm still learning about. And the only way I can learn about it is to debunk a lot of things. So tree branches, signs, anything like that that's gonna have a little bit of depth to it, that's where I'm gonna really be paying attention. But you got it, slow movements, slow motions, without people's cars in it.
We did ask, like she asked, Liza, how old were you?
Would it pick up a tree?
It might, but there isn't a tree over there. There's just a. Your brother just got something on his screen right there. Tell your brother so you can focus.
Mine just dropped, like, significantly.
Hers just had a spike.
Mine was just 43. So.
43.
Over
yeah,
there?
Like, no, like right here. Like, it just bumped and then it dropped. But. That was the highest
Welcome
it
to my
got.
world. Trying to debunk and figure out like why is it spiking in weird random locations. I suppose you're a science teacher too, are you?
Happy science people. It's quite bad.
Sarah, come here. Sarah, come here.
There's no way. No way.
He's either, I think that's the sign. No, there's no sign.
It's flashing though, so it's not focused on anything.
It's that thing right there.
What thing?
That little silver thing. Straight in front of you.
Oh.
Can I interrupt my walk?
Sign. They said sign.
Oh, wow. Spencer, have gotten nothing over here.
I'm just confused on how to read this thing because I keep seeing like. Ready?
You see me? You see me? You see me? Yeah, it's me.
It's a ghost.
Christopher, see me?
Yo.
Look at my shadow. Can you
It's a ghost.
Christopher,
Huh?
turn. You see my shadow?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
You
So
can.
it picks up shadow.
Okay. I'm just curious.
So hopefully we got the son's name that we were talking about. It was like I think I know, who you're going to be telling about not poking the bear with the children. So I kind of gave him a little bit, and then it is one of Eliza's sons, and you have the phrase "my son" as we're sitting here talking about.
Whoa! Look, his
So
thing's
hopefully the
doubling.
name is actually going to.
He's telling the truth. We were just
Sticks
talking
down.
about
That's
that.
so crazy.
Yeah, but it's doubling in one thing though.
I'm not hiding anything.
Yeah.
I don't need to
moving.
prove anything. I see this shit every night.
Yeah, but it did.
This is why you guys come to see me. Like I said, you're gonna hear me say that phrase 1,000 times because you're gonna go, "That's weird" or "That's interesting." I'm like, "Is it? Isn't this why you showed up?"
I see this all the time.
I know. So I'm always gonna go through, like, you guys didn't give me anything super exciting where other than this my son bit that I'm gonna have to dive into. But the most interesting thing, let me kind of go through Sarah's device a little bit so we kind of know what we're looking at. I kind of put it in relative terms to things around your house. So again, nothing's measuring electricity in the air. So if you were to put it by your TV set, about 40 to 60 milligauss. So she did get a 16 was our spike, but I
still
put
recording?
43.
43.
So we did get a 43.
Yeah.
Get them pointed one way or the other. But again, if somebody's going to be coming through that ivy wall, Jen, you're going to have to move your camera. And the same thing goes for you, Thomas. If people start to come down the alley, obviously I don't want you filming them directly. But I'm going to talk about bleed over for just a second.
I got a little something on the corner right here.
It's a jumbled mess. It's probably that bush right
Oh.
behind the dog poop station.
So I gotta decide if it's a person or a
I
bush.
got some shit on my camera. Yeah, you do. So bleed over is basically where two places will cross over, and you'll have one spirit talking to you from one location and vice versa. So we could have had the Pinckney Mansion stuff come up over at Big John's and vice versa. You guys are getting the point. This is a space where we're not going to spray out because we're going to here to stir shit up a little bit, so we can go to our next space across the street this way, and hopefully we're going to get more clues to where we're at over there. But to understand this alley, you need to be in it, and I'm sure Steve and Thomas will agree because I'm sure they've both been down here dozens of times. We got a couple coming down, so to grab that top handle and act like it's just a suitcase. Just there you go, perfect.
Ooh, look at you. So fancy.
Thomas are going to be very with yours as well. And when people are coming through, we're just going to be split the seas and let them come through. I'll stop talking when that happens. When it gets close enough, looks like we got a minute. But at any rate, so Philadelphia Alley is where you're standing. It used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where some of the duels used to occur. You have to remember, it's not all duels used to occur down here because dueling was illegal. They had to kind of pick their hiding spot to where this was going to go down. We all tell the story of the same duel because we can prove that it actually happened. So I say we get right into it. Initials. Who's got the little Ouija board? What letters do you have on there?
I saw a lot of them.
Okay. Which one?
X, M, C, R, E, U, K, E, O, N.
Excuse us, guys.
Sorry.
You're good. Okay. Nothing of relevance. Did she show you how to reset it?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and reset that, and let's get a nice fresh start. So there's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. So he moves down here. By the way, his name was Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. Those of you with spirit boxes with earbuds, if you hear the song Brown Eyed Girl, it is not coincidence. It is part of his name. We get it all the time down here. She just like cranked it up. Like, I want to hear Brown Eyed Girl.
I got an R on mine earlier.
Just the letter R?
I got an R.
We were walking over
Perfect.
here.
Yeah.
Let me explain.
Okay.
Once we get to that point.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, Dr. Ladd is moving here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney, helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks that Dr. Ladd is just after her money. He tells Amanda, get rid of the doctor. He comes to Charleston to prove that he's not. On his way in town, the coachman that was bringing him in set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a good start to his stay here in Charleston. Somebody was walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs. Here's where we stop. Ralph Isaacs has the same initials as where the doctor came from. You're ghost hunting. Initials mean something. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. So we were getting RI on regular spirit boxes from DJs all the time. So I've got the Ouija board for this specific location. So again, the letter R showing up on the way here, I'm not surprised. So kind of keep that in mind. But Ralph tells his doctor, dude, you don't want to stay here. Like, I know this guy, he's going to try to kill you. Come with me to 59 Church Street. You can stay there, rent a room from some friends of mine, and you'll be good to go. Dr. Ladd took him up on the offer. They became friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more money he's making. He's proving his point that he's not after Amanda's cash flow. So, Amanda gets wind of this. She's coming down so they can get married. Dr. Ladd became known as the Whistling Doctor. Here's what I'm going to tell you about whistling ghosts. Every haunted city has one. It's a cliche. We all have one. I'm going to tell you how to find proof of it. However, that's not till the end. Ralph and Dr. Ladd go see plays together. So, they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money at the time. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. The doctor gets better seats. So they talk about the plays on the way home. They see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress that was here in town. Dr. Ladd thought she was great. Ralph didn't. This argument turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It gets very ugly. They go their separate ways. I told you Ralph was from here. Well, he's really not from here. He just has a lot of friends here because he's lived here a long time. He goes to his friends at the newspaper, puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a, you're a disgrace to society kind of mentality. The doctor saw the ad, but rebutted with, let's go to Dueller's Alley. We're going to settle this, and somebody's going to die. And it all started with an argument over an actress. So they came down, they took their 10 paces, they turned, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He didn't want to kill his friend. He just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight, which is often what happened in duels. If you've seen Hamilton, you know that's true. Now, I say Hamilton because I see a lot of young people here. Anyway, Ralph, he has his one bullet from his flintlock. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd doesn't die, but he does drop to the ground. His friends picked him up, carried him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 or 4 days later, depending on which version of the story you read, but his death date always remains the same, November 2nd of 1786. We should also keep in mind, during those 10 or 4 days, he refused medical treatment because he's a doctor. Blood wounds or gunshot wounds back then were not the same as they are now. So again, it's 1786. So he probably tried to bleed out the lead poisoning himself. Now, every tour will tell you, listen for the whistles as you go through here. You don't have to do that. Why? We got 2 cameras running plus my voice recorder. You're gonna hear them in the background. If you're gonna try this on your own and go all the way through the alley and turn on your voice recorders from your phone and listen to it later, because you're not always gonna hear it in real time. It's gonna be on a recording. Keep in mind, every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street is gonna throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night on my way back to my car because we passed it on the way here. So I have to pass the alley, and if my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's gonna throw the whistle first. It's just a fun little game we play. So I do that ever since I got kicked out of here. So let's talk about that, because that's fun, right?
Of course, yeah.
This alley didn't go all the way through this way. The reason why is because it was blocked off about halfway between us and Cumberland Street, because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. So it was called Cow Alley before it was Luller's Alley. So that means the bricks on that side are older than this side. All the way down at the end, we have sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint down there and some fingerprint swipes from slave children that created those bricks. So I used to take my group all the way through there and show off the brick. However, everybody wants to try to get a reading out of that brick, and I treat it the exact same way I do a grave. That's the last place I'm going to find the kid that made that brick and put his handprint in it. So November 26th of 2020, I got my entire group of 10 huddled around the brick, waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along, and I'm also trying to be respectful because it's right outside the kitchen window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. I didn't know I was out of bounds. I was still new at this. So the new owner of that mansion came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at, and we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work Thanksgiving because prior to me telling you guys history every single night, I was a retail manager for Walmart for a good part of my life. So we're just going to put it there, higher up. So managing over 400 people at a time at Walmart on Thanksgiving is never fun. So now you know I don't work Thanksgiving, ever. The next day was November 28th. The dates are relevant. I'm going to get to it. I got with my partner that I had at the time, and I told him what happened. He said, you can't take people down that far. You can only go down halfway or reroute the group. I decided I'm not even going to come down here. I'm going to tell the story way out there, and then I'm going to reroute. But what I told my group that night was I don't believe in the next story. I've never had anything happen there, and I'm a vampire guy, not a pirate person. So I was like, let's just see what happens. I'll tell you what I know about piracy, and we'll investigate, and you guys can teach me things. Before we left, somebody heard the name Ann on a spirit box. I know. I was like,
Yeah, Anna.
Well, Anna was back there.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking Ann.
Oh, gotcha.
So I didn't tell them who we were going to be investigating. The famous female pirate Anne Bonny. So I was kind of like, all right, we'll see what goes on. We get up there. I told them a little bit about pirates that I knew about, which wasn't much at the time. Somebody else hears the number 300. I definitely don't know what that means. I write it down. The next day I research it. We were there November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. My shoulders shrumped and I went, shit. Now I gotta learn about pirates. So, my problem with pirates is that it's lore. Y'all need to be grateful I have a master's degree in creative writing, and I read a shit ton of books to be able to piece this all together for you guys. Because again, piecing together lore is very difficult, especially when people try to debunk it all the time, which is also what I try to do. So everything we're going to be discussing at the next location, it is going to be a crazy pirate story, but it is from a minimum of 2 resources for every sentence that will come out of my mouth, just so you guys know. You're probably hearing our friend the Rat. I've been naming him Remy. He's a pretty large little guy that comes out. Like he's probably this
I
big.
think I'll go this way.
She's like dog shit and rat. Ow. So, by the way, the gate behind me is also another little fun little Charleston nugget of history. I love this place, and that's the reason why I stopped here. Remember that the alley didn't go all the way through this way, so that means that if there was a loser to a duel, they needed a shortcut to get to St. Philip's Cemetery that's on the other side of this wall, which is why this gate is here. The wrought iron was not there. It's probably put there in the early 1900s, but the archway was there. Otherwise, they'd have to take the dead body all the way down to Queen Street and wrap it around to go drop the body off at St. Philip's Cemetery. So, but again, we're going to go out the exact same way that we came in. So those of you with cameras, obviously we have some residents walking in with their dogs, so we're going to be mindful of them as we kind of go through. And we're going to stay out the other tour's way when we get up to our next location. And I need a drink of water because my voice is cracking. So let's head up this way. Let's stay out of this young lady's way. We've got some 2 healthy dogs there.
Alright, you guys. I work at a barn, that's fine. So you guys do. If I don't slice the barn, something's wrong. Or snakes or a rat. Spiders are cool. Snakes, spiders, I'm too. Small spaces, not so much. themselves right here. I mean, I don't want it in my house, but I don't mind them. And the spiders are just a buzz and flying, so, you know.
Are you listening to the same recording over and over? Is the same thing over and over?
No. You're like a really sharp one. Look, it's in my car. There's like really sharp noise. Is it? No, not quite. It's very similar. It's probably just the fun cleaning stage.
Let us know. Let us know.
I don't know how to explain it. It was like really just a high pitch.
I'll still let him know. That way he can record it on his phone.
Oh, that's really pretty. Nick. I'm pretty certain. If not, you can tell him that I told you wrong. Let's take credit.
Look.
What's wrong?
There's a tree. 2 trees actually. Tree.
The tree's not supposed to do it.
Anything that looks like this will do it. Yeah, all these little posts. You gotta look for the other side.
What else do we have going on? Ouija board giving us anything?
OB.
OB? Like the tampon? OB?
I said Outer Banks.
That's OBX.
Oh. Wow.
We need the X.
I'll set the options.
Alright, so we're going to be discussing, by the way, do you know anything about Philadelphia Alley? Is that accurate on that piece? I know I'm accurate, I'm just waiting for your clarification. He's our history guy. Like, I'm trying to, like, I don't want to say I'm trying to impress, but I'm like, I know what I'm doing out here. So even if he doesn't think I'm right, I'm going to give him the links to show him I am. So we're going to be discussing a little tiny building over there first. So that's the reason why we're here. Those are not crosses on that building, those are earthquake bolts. If you're unfamiliar with what an earthquake bolt is, it's a turnbuckle. So if we have another earthquake, like what we did in 1886 that I mentioned earlier, which we haven't, by the way, at least not of that magnitude, you can tighten those turnbuckles on either side, and it's supposed to tighten the building up so it doesn't incur any further damage. It's a great idea, it doesn't work. So all the Californians that come out and see me laugh their asses off the minute I say earthquake bolts, and they're like, you know that doesn't work. I'm like, let me say my line. So again, it's always a big joke between me and Californians because they have much bigger technology now. But the reason I bring up those specific earthquake bolts is because those are the oldest, the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in, because that's the oldest government building in South Carolina, because it was finished in 1713. This is why we're here. You guys all watch the TV shows and movies, and they use a teddy bear to attract a child ghost because it's a familiar thing. That's a familiar building to the same time span of when Anne Bonny was coming to America to start her new life. So, let's get into it. First off, the building took 10 years to build. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. But the building finished in 1713. Our story actually begins in 1708. You're going to have to follow me. We're talking pirates. There's a lot of twists. So, a young lady named Anne Cormack comes here from Ireland. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is Anne's mother. You guys with me so far? Okay. Yeah, I get it. It's still a stretch to me. Like, they're not going to know the band U2. So where was? Oh yeah, the three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. So how mad was she that they had to get on a boat and come here from Ireland? Like, that's one pissed off lady because there's no airplanes. Keep in mind, 1708. Anyway, they landed in Georgetown. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he's sending young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation and keep things afloat. Hence the familiar building. And again, this is a hit or miss location. We're either going to have a lot going on or nothing going on, because Anne is said to be seen all over town. But let's go back to Ireland for just a second. Anne, even at the age of 7, 8, 9 years old, remember it's pirate lore, they say she was a badass even back then. They say she killed a servant with a knife to the belly. We have had the terms servant, knife, and belly all show up in the same evening. It's one of her known facts. So, fast forward, the building's done in 13. By 1715, pirates are really strolling through town. Anne is stoked. Why? She's going to fall in love so she can earn her freedom, just like a man. It's a man's world. So, first guy she falls in love with, and I said first because we're going to go through all of them. There is quite a few. First guy is James Bonny. You already see where this one's going because we've already mentioned Anne's pirate name. So, Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica, they got married, and Cormac is now Anne Bonny. That's where her name came from. But when they get down there, she realizes her new husband is not Captain Jack Sparrow like what she was hoping for. This guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. This is not who she wants. He's a coward. So, she falls in love again. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. Well, we're going to get into why they call him that, but this is the guy that they based your Johnny Depp character off of, just in case you were wondering who this guy is. So literally, this is her Captain Jack Sparrow. So, he has his own crew and ship, and wants to be part of the crew. Can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Anybody know why?
Bad luck.
Thank you for keeping it family friendly. Appreciate that. I get a lot of really weird answers to that, or very discomforting, like I'm going to look away and not answer. I get a lot of different answers to that. But anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and look like my crew, you can be part of it, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice back home in Ireland to hide her from his wife. So she gets it. She's a pirate now. But most of us are adults here. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's being a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl, and then they're going to vote Jack off the ship as captain. Before she starts to show her pregnancy, he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby over here, come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. No amount of my research has found what has happened to that child. So if you want to poke the bear and go for it, go for it. But the irony part of this part of the story is that she comes back dressed as a girl. This makes Jack pretty angry, because now everybody's going to know he let a girl on the crew. While she was gone giving birth, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck. She's going to go flirting, because that's who Anne is. It's probably locked. It's going to be really good. The porta potty's over there. So, guy number 3, in case you guys lost track of where we were at. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy, to be part of the pirate crew the Calico Jack captured. We now have 2 females on the same ship trying to be pirates. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary became friends, possibly lovers. We're not going to really know for sure, but the British find out where they are. They send a fleet of ships to take down one measly pirate ship, and the rumor is that Anne and Mary were the only 2 pirates that weren't drunk enough to come up and fight with 1 bullet flintlocks, probably because they didn't know how to use the cannons yet. 2 ladies with flintlocks are not going to take on a fleet of ships. They get arrested. As they're being arrested, she's looking at her captain in bow, Calico Jack, and she says, "Jack, I'm so sorry to see you here, but if you would have fought like a man, you wouldn't have to be hanged like a dog." The word dog comes up here a lot. I've even had people report that they heard dogs barking on a spirit box as we're entering. It's the weirdest thing. Who's talking about barking dogs on a radio station? But anyway, the judge wants to see the 2 quote-unquote men that fought back so valiantly. Jack and his drunk crew were already dead and gone and hung. The 2 ladies go in front, reveal their gender, and the judge doesn't give a shit that they're pirates, or that they're female. They're still pirates. He wants to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they screamed out, because you can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he delays the hanging, sends them both back to jail. Dad is still up here in South Carolina with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary because we don't really know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. As far as Mary Reed goes, she dies a few months after that in April, and she actually died in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. Most books will tell you that it was something very simple like fever or something very simple like that. I say let's make it romantic. It's probably scurvy. Why the hell not? So, 2 things I left out of here, because you guys all know how to ask questions by now, I hope. So Chris is going to have to probably get some help because he hasn't used that thing yet. But I left out the name of Anne Bonny's parents on purpose, and I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. You can also ask the other questions like what city Anne was from. We've gotten that answer before. What color her hair is. What happened to her child. I can't prove it, but if you guys want to ask and get a direct answer, let's see what we can get out of it. But again, with this specific space, EMF detection, I'm not excited when you get closer to the street because we have 2 electrical poles in the corners and the parking meters on the other side of the bushes. It's the back half where I'm more interested, 2.5 and higher. So you're getting the point on that one. Cameras, nice slow footage in here, so you guys are getting the point on the cameras, but yeah, we're going to spread out in this location, Keep in mind, other tours love to cut through here. I haven't seen any other ones. Looks like they're all like done for the night, so they're all that way. By the way, did you guys see that giant tour?
I just heard my daughter-in-law killed her family.
Daughter-in-law killed her family. That's a lot to hear. I'm gonna write that one down.
You heard that?
He's like, what are
I
you
told you he was gonna need help.
Are we using the same thing?
Yep. My daughter-in-law killed my family.
Kills her family.
Kills.
I have crazy on mine.
Well, she would have to be crazy to kill the whole family.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you see guys see the giant?
Lost her mother.
Like that tour was probably double the size it was allowed to be. Just so you guys know, like that's not a normal size. It is in the summertime because some other companies will like pack you guys in, and it'll go up to like 30 people. But I did a quick head count. He was at like 37, 38. Like I could turn him in if I really wanted to be a jerk about it, but I'm not. So I just like to brag that my groups are small and I know everybody's name and he has no clue. So this is kind of how I roll.
yes.
This is kind of how I roll. Kills her family. Got it.
Mine says stunt.
I don't have to write yours
Okay.
down because it's doing it for
That's
me.
true.
Henry, got anything coming out of yours?
Right there.
All right,
That's
let's
her.
spread out. Let's
No,
have some
I'm
fun in this location.
Hi.
All right, Mom, I
Thanks,
sing
appreciate
that.
that.
Why are we all looking the same direction?
Covered down to the battery yesterday, and I talked for a couple minutes about pink house. You know, so that's, you know, you coming full circle with this, that's,
The pink house was actually finished in 2012, but there's no official record of it.
right.
So that's the problem, is it's not officiated back in those times to actually make sure that we know it was finished. That's why I say that this is the oldest government building, because to me the pink house is the oldest building we have. That's still standing. But
Hi.
I would say
Hey.
this is actually pretty tame. Probably the flooring would have to be straight up. That's probably not how we need it. I don't like to have some more enthusiasm, I guess, with some of like the pirate stories. I've been literally doing tours.
I guess that's good.
It is. I'm not complaining, but actually, when I woke up and I was like, oh, looks like I'll have a night off. Actually, read some books and learn something new. And my wife says, how's your throat doing? Because I've been going home without a voice every night. I'm like, it's scratchy. I'll live. That's what I do. Drink tea and the honey today.
I lost my voice when I was a kindergarten teacher.
Kindergarten? I can imagine. That would probably be a daily thing for me.
I had to actually call out one time for 4 days because I had absolutely no voice. And I'm like, how am I supposed to teach kindergarten with no voice?
When I first started this, my anxiety.
Let's stick with you.
Like there were certain nights I just couldn't
need your
go out. Like there's no way I can come out and try to entertain people. And then I realized like I just gotta go out there and have fun with the kids. That's the whole point.
Have you ever, you know, we were at parking lot, we're talking about people, I got some severe tightness in my chest. Is that, have you ever had a feeling like that before?
What happens when I get
Yeah, I was like, I didn't, and I told them I didn't say anything because I didn't want to.
I'm trying not to point it at anybody. But it's not picking you up. Now it is, but... And you're looking like you're going like this just now, so...
It's my model catwalk. Yeah, you're allowed to point it at us, just not other people.
Oh, yeah, I know, but then it picks you up, so... So is this gentleman a teacher?
Yeah, history teacher.
History
He
teacher.
was born and raised here, Spain and all this stuff.
See, like, the ladies there? I'm not picking them up at all. Do you see it?
Yeah, it's probably because they're so dark.
But if I point it at whatever that machine is, I kept getting something in the corner. Like, that's picking up something high, but, like, I kept getting something there.
Someone's haunting the porta potty.
Yes.
I don't know what machine that is. It could be a...
It's
Yeah. I've been pressing buttons on like somebody else over there.
see, look.
I don't know if it was me. I don't know if somebody else.
Hey. Hey, hey.
You see?
Yes, I do. Get out of the way.
Not picking
Get out the way.
I like the combination of what I'm saying.
I put it at 0 for the entire thing.
Nice slow movement. You
Is
got that
it?
record button running, right? Yeah. Oh, shoot.
Okay, never mind then. Never mind.
Just.
Like, always follow up if you got mentioned.
What?
I said just take.
I don't always follow up with those video camera real time. Put those on YouTube.
I was getting something on that green thing earlier, but it's not there
Would
anymore.
you hear it? Did you just hear it?
I walked
Yeah.
through this parking lot.
Like in the music or?
Yeah,
Went to a play at the doctor.
in the music.
I was actually on the front
When you
row.
hear something in the music of any of the stuff that he talked about,
Lady.
or something that seems strange. I don't know.
It was actually pretty good.
I had a very hard time. Your mom seems to just pull entire sentences out.
Just come up with. Gosh. I put it out there.
Ready? 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 Oh, what'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
No, you had like a person up there.
Yeah, I know, but she said it's the trees. Unless they're climbing in the trees. Stop it.
Cool.
Yeah, but there's two of you. Skit. I'm recording this. Would you move? Oh, now there's a person there.
Huh?
Now there's a person there.
So they were chasing me.
Look. It was right there. It's like hanging from the tree. See?
I think it's recognizing the tree as a person.
Well, that's what she was telling me too. I didn't touch yours, so you
Hey,
broke it.
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, come back.
That's the highest she's gotten this entire lot.
For real.
You're electric.
Look at me.
Well, it's going to be going in a pulse. Because it's moving through them. So it's the voices that you're hearing, even if it's a song or a DJ or a commercial. So if you hear "Go buy a Toyota," I want to know that you heard "Go buy a Toyota." Yeah, it's about the words that you're hearing. All right, you two, what do you got going on? You look like
So we did get virus and soul. We were asking about how we died, and we got soul, virus, and respectively.
I heard, did I tell you like the song name?
I want to know the lyric. Have you heard anything coming out of your spirit box?
Nothing really.
Old man.
The old man.
In secret. Yeah, we asked,
That was the only
how did
secret,
you
really.
die, or what was that? What was that secret?
Yeah, we asked how did you die, and then a couple minutes later it popped up virus.
Okay. I don't think I know how Aunt Bonnie died, like her specifically. Because again, at the age of 84, we don't even. There's so many rumors about what happened. We're next to the church, so we do get a lot of religious terms. Just so you know. So that's kind of expected. I'm going to write it down just to prove the point to you guys. But as far as Aunt Bonnie's death, there's some speculations of even where she is. Some say she stayed right here in South Carolina. Other versions of her story say she's ended up in Virginia. So again, we have no idea where the hell she's at or how she died. Or how many children or descendants that she actually has. What do we got going on my Ouija
It
board
said
over there?
there when you said Virginia.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting, is it
Yeah.
not?
So yeah, now we know.
Now we know. Anything crazy?
Nothing that seems to make a word or sense in terms of these
Initials A, B.
It says right there. So that's a little closer to the connection, I guess. Died of a fever, Jim.
Well, that would have been
It's a
Mary.
virus.
Yeah. So again, most books will tell you that it was fever or something very simple. But I'm gonna, like I said, I'm sure isn't scurvy like viral?
Scurvy's lack of vitamin C.
Okay.
Says
Shows you how much I know.
Something with their nose, maybe.
Nose?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing on nose. That's very specific though, is it not? That's pretty crazy.
Sun. Oh, you said vitamin C?
We're stretching it, but we're having fun.
We're like, wait, it's a
I
vitamin.
don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that just goes to show you what I know about scurvy. I mean, as many books and whatnot that I've read about pirates and documentaries and video games that I've played to learn different versions of this story. Again, I don't think any one of them has really fully explained what the hell scurvy actually is. So.
That's why they call British sailors limeys, because it's lime ships they do.
Look at you guys teaching me shit.
I know.
This is
It's
cool.
awesome.
All right. Anything crazy coming
Don't
up?
worry, I'm
with
not
you?
going to teach you nothing. I only taught kindergarten. ABCs.
Well, I mean, I kept catching something over in that area, but and then everything's really high. Like I caught something in the corner over there, but I don't know.
You got obviously you were on record because you
Yes.
are right now. Perfect. Any anomalies coming up out of you? All right. I say we wrap this one up. Let's go over to the wall so I can give you guys all the crazy answers.
You want to switch?
I'll do it.
You want to? You do that one. I'll do this one, and you do this one. Unless you would like to.
Yeah, here, I'll try to speak. So I have a phone. I have an app on my phone where I mess with SLS all the time.
We'll go on like Bulldog scores and stuff.
What are you looking for with this?
Just any sort of heat signature difference. Little heat signature difference. That's the shape of the head, shoulders. If it looks kind of like a person and it's not a physical human being, it's something.
Alright, so this is one of the few pictures you can find Anne Bonny with a shirt on. The reason why, by the way, I do get teenage boys on this, dad going home. So, but Anne Bonny used to bare a breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. I told you this chick was a badass. So again, she basically shoot them, kill them before they were actually dead. She'd flash them,
I just
basically.
heard shepherd.
Her what?
Shepherd.
Shepherd?
Mine gave me task, and you said like it was hard to find a
Look at
one
you guys like
picture.
swapping stuff up in between groups.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
that was doing what now? Did you
Sorry.
want a different set of earbuds? Because I have more. Okay. So that's Anne Bonny. The names of her parents: William, Cormac, Mary Brennan. That's a whole other 30-minute scandal that we're not going to get into because Mary Brennan was actually one of the servants for the Cormac family. So again, whole other scandal. And it was not another subliminal trick because we did have Mary Reed that was on the ship that was one of Anne's possible lovers. So kind of keep that in mind. But William and Mary, when you guys hear it, it normally comes from one person and it comes from one phrase that you guys heard on a radio station. It's the weirdest thing. So it's like, were their names William and Mary? Because somebody just said William and Mary on the radio. It's happened I don't know how many times in this space. I also show you what Calico Jack looked like because everybody wants to see what they based Johnny Depp off of. This is Calico Jack. They named him that because of the jackets he wore. These basically came from the British captains that he killed. So his father was a tailor, so textiles were very important. Calico Jack basically translates to fancy jacket. That's where the name comes from. Now, Calico Jack's ship was called the Kingston. This is where I get to kind of point out something. Those of you with radio spirit boxes, you're not going to hear the word Kingston coming through on your spirit boxes because it's not a word that we say on our radio stations. The word king would suffice in this location. I will tell you king. So I'm going to write it down. You don't have the one that's recording. You guys do, right? Okay. So, with that said, we did have on the word list, we did have the word jackets and king show up within 2 words of each other last night. So again, it had the word king show up here. It's just not very often. So there's one last reason why I like to give you guys that heated warning at the top of our tour. I already gave Steve a brief of this, but I was like to tell the whole group so you guys know. A year ago this past September, I took my whole group to the back, and I always do that to stay out of everybody else's way. But the kid next to me, I say kid because he was probably 21, 22 years old, he starts to faint. This is the perfect weather of what we were experiencing. It wasn't too hot, it wasn't overdressed, the whole 9 yards. I had to pick him up by his armpit, literally, to like stop him from hitting his head on the ground. His boyfriend picked him up from the other side of him. this used to be my last stop. It's not now. We got one more to go. But I told everybody, go spread out. I told them like 3 stories, go see what we can find, because this is how we've already been here at one point. But anyway, them 2 guys pulled me aside and said, Nick, we got to tell you something. We are 2 transgender males. I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary in the story. And it now made complete sense as to why one of them passed out the minute we entered the space. So, just too much info, too much to actually handle. I didn't have to call paramedics that night. Fingers crossed, he actually turned out okay. I followed up with him for a week to make sure he was doing okay. But again, this is the weird stuff that I see that I can't explain. So you guys have to take things in stride when I give you that heated warning at the top. The next space, we're going to be doing a little surprise. So the people that are having the spirit boxes in their hands right now with the earbuds, you're my voluntold. This means you're going to be doing an experiment at the next location that's a little bit more extreme than what you're working on right now. So we're going to be doing the Estes method. Is anybody familiar with this? Nobody at all? Nothing on you either, Mr. Enthusiast? Well, you're going to get your shot at it. In a nutshell, I'm going to blindfold them and put noise-canceling headphones on them, and they're not going to know the history of the location because we're going to be sitting on a bench and we'll tell everybody else. So when we go back, we're going to be talking to these 2 as if they were the ghosts that we're trying to hunt down, and hopefully we're going to get the answers to the questions directly. This either works out really well or works out really bad. So again, it's a 50-50 shot. It's a big roll of the dice, but it's still a lot of fun to do. So I've been experimenting with this for probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks now. And again, it's a lot of fun because again, they're not going to know any damn thing about what the hell we're talking about. They're not even going to be able to hear us. And she's like, you're going to blindfold me in a park in the middle of the night with a bunch of strangers. So, but again, it is a lot of fun. We're definitely going to film it. So just make sure you guys are, ready for filming on that piece on both ends. You can stop your recordings as far as the cameras at this point because we're going to be walking about with the red spirit boxes. Have a seat because you guys are in the spot. So, unwrap them while I take the rest of the group and go teach all the history. It's very brief here. This is a brand new space, so I don't know everything. It's not a 10-minute story, just so you guys know. It's very brief. As far as these go, they're disposable. I don't want your eye boogers. So when you open them up, they obviously open up to where there's 2 eye covers, but it's 2 plots. So you just lift up in the middle and then tear it so that you have loops that go over your ears. So it's not all the way around your head. So you guys can play with those and kind of get used to how those actually work. Most kitchen headphones are still relatively new, so this way you can realize it's still kind of tight. So just kind of keep that in mind. So play around with them, get used to how they move around and that kind of thing. So when you guys get blindfolded, I have to hand you these headphones, and you have to feel around so that they don't know what you're doing. Also, when we're doing this experiment and we get them blindfolded and headphones up, we're going to huddle around them pretty close. Again, it's really weird when I'm blindfolding people in the middle of a park in the middle of the night, so we don't need the other tourists going, what the hell is he doing now? So, 2 sets of headphones for you guys, basically pull them down, and they spread apart this way. So, again, everything gets sanitized twice a day, so don't worry about that. It's fine for you. So, I'll give you some tips and tricks about this whole experiment when we come back, but you guys can
I think of what they had in the 1700s that we did.
Let's go learn some history, guys. Let's do this.
Cool.
Am I supposed to be recording still?
You can if you want.
Wow. Record me. I'm awesome. I'm very entertaining.
You definitely are that. But it's so nice.
Alright, so this is again a space I don't know everything about. This is a very brief history, but I like to also tell you, like, this is my new space of the year. I've only been coming here since November. So the first time I came here was with a very small group, and I told them I'm experimenting, but look around, there's a million monuments. I didn't know who the hell we were going to find. Most tours that come through here, they always talk about Captain Beauregard along, on the back wall there. But what we heard was the year 1828 came out of a spirit box, specifically, and then we had the name Henry, and then the word Tim showed up on the word list. This is Henry Timrod behind me, born in 1828. So I went, well, hot damn, there's my ghost. So, here's his story. He was born in 1828, obviously, but he was old enough to go fight in the Civil War. So he was sick through most of his life, though. So when he goes out to the battlefield, his comrades realize he's too sick to fight. They told him, why don't you go home and be the voice of the war? They knew he was a poet and a writer. So he decided he's going to come home, start writing poetry about what's going on the battlefield. So he comes home, he becomes known as the Laureate of the Confederacy. For us writers, that's a pretty prestigious title to have. A few years after he gets home, he has a son. You guys are going to know the name of the son, his birthday, and obviously how old he was when he died. They're not. This might be a question I hope to bear with to try to get some answers out of Mr. Timrod. His son was named Willie. He was born on Christmas Eve, and he died 9 months later on October 23rd. So you guys are getting the gist of the numbers when we start asking. But it's obviously a very tragic death because his son was so young. He's mourning. A few years go by, and he's not writing as much. His college buddy realizes this, who's also a writer, and invites him out to his cottage in Columbia. This is Paul Hayne Hamilton. He calls him out there and he says, why don't you finish the piece you're supposed to be working on and leave Katie, your wife, behind with her parents to mourn for your son, Philip. So he goes out, and that's where he writes his last words. Beholder of brief mortality were the last words he wrote. And then he coughed, and it landed on the page in a blood stain. He had tuberculosis. Now that blood stain is still on that book. Why? Because it looks like a man writing at his desk. We call it the Blood Book. They show it one day a year on Halloween at the Charleston Library Society because that's where his entire collection is held. And again, pretty creepy, but you have to be a member of the society to be able to go see the book. The internet is beautiful. I'm going to show you what the book looks like. So, and Cassie's like, yay! But we call this the Blood Book, just so you guys know. But again, very creepy thought. And I did have a sensitive on the group here last night, and she's like, I feel like he's just irritated with you asking the same questions time and time and time again. So you can obviously see beholder of brief mortality, the cough of tuberculosis there on the page. So very creepy ending to our night to try to get a hold of this guy while blindfolding a couple of your family members. So it's always a good time, right? All right, so we're gonna go ask them some questions. I had to give them a few pointers because this is very disorienting to be able to do what I'm doing to them. So you're okay with me blindfolding, right? Cool. Alright, so we're going to huddle in pretty close because obviously some tours are moving in. So a couple of pointers about this, guys. When you go under, I'm going to keep you under for about 10 minutes. Any more than that, you're going to start to get really disoriented. It's going to be disorienting enough. So what you're going to do is you're going to tell us every little thing that you hear. And we're only give you about 30 seconds to a minute to get acclimated. And because you're not going to know, obviously you don't know anything that we talked about over there. And you're literally just going to start spouting things off. When I see you guys are kind of giving us answers, I'm going to start asking questions. This is also another space where you can ask yes/no questions, and you can give me those answers. I'm going to be asking maybe yes/no questions. You guys don't know that. That's why it's okay that we can do this. So kind of keep that in mind. You don't need to shout. We can hear you. I want you to almost put it into a whisper. We're all going to be focused on the two of you anyway. So even if we can't hear you, we got it on recording somewhere. Voice recorder's going, you guys get it. So take those headphones off because you got to put them on, everything on in kind of a specific order so you're not uncomfortable. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put on the, oh, by the way, when you guys are done, do not get up. Your family member is going to tap you on the leg to tap you out. So if I see that your breathing is getting too heavy, I'm going to have somebody tap you out. So just be prepared for that. It can happen. It has happened. But when you come out, don't get up right away. Your eyes need to adjust. Your brain needs to adjust to the real world again. So it's blindfolds first, and then earbuds, and then your noise canceling. When you guys turn up your volumes to your spirit boxes, kind of keep your hands on your lap. We want to make sure you're not messing with the volume. That way you're turning it down and hearing what we're asking. I usually have a family member kind of control the volume, but that didn't work out so great last night. Nearly put the other person to go deaf. Like they were screaming, it's too loud!
That would be her. That's her.
You guys are getting the gist of why we're doing it this way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. Okay, Henry, I got 2 more people here ready to listen. Also notice I'm not writing anything down. I'm only going to write down later what actually stuck out to me. Henry, I got 2 people here listening to you. I want to go very simple, like we always do at first. What was your occupation? What did you do for a living? Also keep in mind of your spirit boxes. Pay attention to those. We might get the answers on those as well. Henry, tell us what you did for a living, please. What'd she hear? Did she say book?
I could tell.
Bolt.
Henry, tell us what you did for a living, please.
Farmer.
Surgery.
Try again, Henry. We're being respectful tonight. I know we had somebody here who thought you were a little irritated with us asking the same questions. These folks here want to see that you're actually here. Let's get some answers. She said, baby, I'm going to go right into those questions. Why don't you tell us about your son? Did he die at a young age?
No.
Do you want to tell us how old he was when he passed away? Check the time. I got 2 minutes.
8.
He was 9 months old. 8 is relevant because that is actually Henry's birthday. It was December 8th, 1928. So it's vague. I need something else. So Henry, you're giving us all kinds of weird data here. Farmer, surgery, like nothing's making sense. Let's be a little bit more concise.
It says fall.
Okay. Why don't you tell us what your wife's name was? Let's talk about something happy. Only because I know you loved her very dearly because you wrote poetry about her.
25.
It's not Christmas.
Knife.
It's not Christmas Eve, is it, guys? Christmas Day. Tell us about your wife. Maybe her name.
Virginia.
Do you want to tell us where you went to school? Where did you go to college, Henry? The answer is in Georgia. I can't remember the exact school. Tell us where you went to school.
Ocean.
Was it near the ocean? Was your college near the ocean? Right. Okay. Didn't get a direct answer out of that. He did say no. I'll look it up and see where that school was. And let's go up to things I actually know about. You and your son, weren't you born in the same month?
Yes.
Can you give us a number of the date? Maybe your birthday?
Eight.
Thank you. Can you tell us what year?
1859.
Ask. I don't know what 1859 means. He definitely wasn't born or died in 1859 because he went to the Civil War. I say it was 1867.
42.
Who do we have here with us? Give us your name, because these answers don't match up to Mr. Timber. Who's here with us?
Did you say what the baby died from?
What the baby died from? I don't know that I have that answer. I don't know.
I just have the word tub. It's the first time I've had a word.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's the first starting of tuberculosis. Suffering.
Horse.
It's just weird that he's giving me, like, I asked him for a year. I asked him for a specific number. And the yes, no's were pretty spot on. Most of them. And can you tell me what my name is?
Steve.
Steve is next to me. What's my name?
Nick.
Let me check his volume.
Is his name Nick?
Caleb.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, it's called a pen.
Alright.
But it is Caleb.
Henry, tell us the name of your son. Henry, here's the name of your son. Tell me something about the person where this park is named after. Yeah. Yep.
Child.
And we don't have much time. I'm gonna have to pull these people out.
No. Why? No.
Wow.
Notice that they're not talking over each other either. Sometimes it can look like a conversation. Henry, one last question of whatever you give us an answer to whatever you want us to know. Something specific to you. I made it, Charleston. I don't know where his father hailed from, but he's not. Just Henry was born. One last thing, Henry. Going once, going twice. Family members tap out. Let's get these folks out from underneath there.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Give me one of your earbuds for a
Stop.
second.
Oh, you don't. I guess you can keep it. Keep
On.
You can keep it
Just
going.
so you guys know, I doubted him.
That's crazy. Y'all were like answering.
Quite a bit. His volume's down. It's got to be hearing the question. He had like 4 or 5 direct answers.
That was so cool.
First question he asked, and I thought I heard.
I was trying in my mind to keep up with the things that like I was saying. I know I was
Yeah, here's where So again, there's question number 5. And there's
Mom, there's a ghost right in front of me. One right there. One right there. Look.
Okay.
Went away.
It's pretty cool from the spot.
It's right between us.
Yeah, it's the closest I've seen. 59 degrees right there.
Great.
The cold water. It said it was supposed to be lower than that. It probably is 59 degrees right here.